Hey, how's it going? My name's Alex. Today I'm sitting in the truck and doing a video because right now it is really windy and I'm in Kansas, but this isn't a weather channel. This video we're answering, is this the end of hotshot trucking? I feel like I make this video about once a year and it's every time the rates are cheap. And let me tell you, they've been rough. They've been real cheap, okay? And often it's in the beginning of the year, right? Like towards the end of winter, right before the spring, it starts to pick back up. That's usually when I find myself having to make these types of videos. Like, is it over? Is it done? Is it worth it? Like these types of videos, like roughly once a year. Because don't forget, I've been making videos now for 3 years, and you know, freight on the Loadboard is kind of like a roller coaster. It goes up, goes down. But this year, this time, this video, it might be different. Let me explain. First reason this time it might be different is there's now several channels documenting the transition from hotshot to semi-truck and how, to be honest, easy it seems, okay? It seems pretty easy. That transition from hotshot to semi seems pretty easy, okay? Second reason is now I've gotten several messages that and I've also experienced it myself, that the DOT loves picking on hotshots, okay? Absolutely loves it. You know, the DOT probably wakes up in the morning and goes like, oh, I can't wait to go inspect some hotshots today. That's probably what the DOT is like. Probably not. But what I am saying on a more serious note is that instead, also, not only do they inspect us more because we are easier to inspect, or maybe it seems that way, the more important part is now the DOT, I've gotten messages about this, the DOT is actually tricky because they don't just write you up for a violation, because a violation, you can data queue the violation and get it removed. They write you up for a warning, and a warning cannot get data queued and get removed. A warning stays on your record. So I got a long message about this, how somebody had an interaction with the officer and they issued a warning instead of actually giving them a violation or a ticket, because warnings unfortunately can't be removed. So you have more DOT out there giving hotshots warnings instead of violations or tickets. So comment below if that's happened to you, by the way. That's what one of these people wrote, that they had this long conversation with the officer. But the point remains the same. The DOT loves hotshots. So naturally that means you, as a hotshot driver or owner operator, you don't like hotshots because you're constantly getting picked on, right? The third reason is, guys, the insurance, okay? So, oh my goodness, guys, dozens of messages every day. Insurance is raising my prices. What should I do? In the Facebook group constantly, hey, how much are you paying? Is there a way to lower this insurance? And not only that, but also I've gotten messages now of people saying that insurance doesn't take anyone that's less than a year old. So if you are a new hotshot company, they will not take you if your MC is less than a year old. So keep that in mind if you are actually thinking about getting into this business. So get ready, because my answer is going to be unbiased, thorough, well-researched answer to those 4 points. But more or less, essentially the question that everyone's asking is hotshot still worth it? Okay, so let's address these in order. Cheap rates, guys. I already made a video about this. It's called How the Government Can Fix the Cheap Rates, okay? And in that video, I say, hey, we need to open the country up again, right? Because I posted that video 9 months ago. And then I said, we need to raise the broker bond. And then I said, hey, we should make everyone get a CDL. So I think those 3 things will raise the barrier to entry, therefore increasing the rate, because once the barrier to entry is higher, the rate goes up, you know, because that's just how you level out the supply and demand, right? And believe it or not, what we have is the free market figuring itself out. And this is the beauty of the free market, right? It does figure itself out, and it does level off, or, you know what I mean, go up or down accordingly, right? To more often than not, supply and demand. And that's really all trucking is. And so the solution to cheap rates often is just wait until supply and demand is right. So if the rates are really cheap, maybe go to an area where there's a lot of loads but not a lot of trucks. And, you know, or if there isn't trucks and you can afford to park it, then park it. But often the solution is supply and demand, and I have a load to tell you about later on in the video, so stay tuned for that. But so option number, or the first thing is, guys, cheap rates, they come and go. You know, it is like a roller coaster. It is like a, you know, wave that goes up and down. So just wait until the opportunities are better. So since there's no solution for really the cheap rates other than just being patient and waiting it through, let's talk about the second thing, and that is the other channels that are documenting the transition from hotshot to semi-truck. Okay, now I just want to make it abundantly clear, I'm not against people doing that, okay? I actually encourage it. I'm non-CDL, I don't have a CDL, and I don't want to go get it, and I will tell you why later on in the video. But the more important part is I actually made a video called, okay, you know what's funny? When Tow Piglet was a tiny little channel, it's so frustrating how some people look at me now, you know, I got like 100,000 subscribers, you know, whatever, 13, 14 million views or something like that across all my channel, or across my channel, all the videos, and it's like, nobody goes back and watches old videos. You know how I know that? Because here's the older video that I uploaded in November 22nd, 2018. Okay, that's this video. It has 11,000 views, and this video is called "Can Hotshot Trucking Be a Career?" And I specifically say in the video that you should start non-CDL but eventually transition to a big truck, because hotshotting is a stepping stone. Roll the clip.
I like this job. I absolutely do. Now, it might not be for everyone. That's the thing. And so when people ask me, hey, should I get into hotshotting? I have my CDL. Absolutely not. If you have a CDL, go drive a big truck. That's much better. But if you don't have a CDL, then this is a good way to test the waters, to see if you want to go, if it's worth putting the time and effort going to school, getting your CDL and stuff like that. Because this is a stepping stone. I'm not gonna be hotshotting 10 years from now. Hell, I'm not gonna be hotshotting 5 years from now. But if you wanna check out the transportation industry, this is a great place to start.
So before anybody starts blaming me for somehow ruining the rates by providing the information that people were searching for anyways, guys, I've been encouraging everyone to get a CDL. Often when people ask, the first thing they ask is, do I need a CDL? And I still recommend that they do get one, okay? So now that's not to say that everyone listens, because, you know, at the end of the day, it's free will, but still, I've been recommending everyone get a CDL if they can. So when I'm watching some of these YouTubers transition from non-CDL hotshot or CDL hotshot into a semi, to me, I knew it was going to happen. It was just a matter of time. I fully expected it because I'm the one that recommended it. I know the freight market. I know how tough it is to sleep in a truck. I realize all of that, okay? But what's important to understand about this transition when you're watching it is that the experience you learn or you gain in non-CDL is priceless, okay? Knowing what a carrier packet is, okay? Knowing how to fill it out, knowing how to get insurance, knowing how to haul loads, secure loads, knowing, like, at the end of the day, even as non-CDL, you have to talk to brokers, customer service, sales, right? Because you're calling people, how to dial loads, how to use apps, how to, like, all of that experience can and does, like dispatching especially, like booking freight, dispatching, all that stuff is so important. When you know nothing about CDL hotshot, or when you know nothing about the trucking industry as a whole, how freight moves, all of this stuff, all of this knowledge transitions into the semi as well. So getting good at that, like, stuff is crucial for your success in trucking. And my question is, when's it easier to learn? When you have a $3,500 semi-truck payment, or when you have a $900 hotshot truck payment? Obviously, it's much easier when you have a cheap truck payment. Yes, the loads suck and the rates are cheap, and yeah, people run for beer money. I get it, but that's not the point. The point is that you're learning all of this experience, which is ultimately priceless. And let me tell you, a lot of people that want to become semi-truck owner operators, they work a company driving job for 3 years, for 4 years, for 5 years before they become a semi-truck owner operator. Very few people just go out there and become semi-truck owner operators with zero experience in the business, right? And so doing, like, essentially going from knowing nothing in the trucking business to becoming an owner operator on a semi in 1 year is amazing, and that cannot be, like, that is really good. But that's what you're supposed to do, because the more you know about running your business, the more you realize how much value there is in the semi-truck industry, okay? So ultimately, I knew this would, I knew people would do this. I'm glad people are doing it, but the important part is that you're never supposed to look back at the people or step down on the people before you, because you were there on that step before as well, okay? So that's why I never knock non-CDL hotshots. I always recommend, hey, you should try to get a 40-footer, or, get a dually so you can have better load placement, or, try to get good at, running your business, managing your business, loads, invoicing, so that then you could take those skills that you've learned and move up in the world, okay? But anyways, moving on to the third one, and that was the insurance. Guys, this is what I was talking about, the free market solving itself, right? And ultimately, insurance companies realized that insuring hotshots is not a good idea. Why? Because hotshots usually aren't unexperienced, bad drivers, and they don't make their payments because rates are cheap. So that's why you're hearing more and more news, more and more articles, more and more things out there that insurance does not take you if you're a hotshot or if you don't have at least a year experience. So unfortunately, that is the free market solving itself. And there is no solution to that other than just be better prepared, unfortunately. So insurance is one of those things. It is scary. Rates are going up, so be prepared. And then the last one, I think I got those out of order. The last one is the DOT, guys. Unfortunately, there's no other way to say it, but hotshots often overlook. Okay, and I'm not saying it hasn't happened to me, but hotshots occasionally overlook equipment maintenance, or all the fine regulatory details, right? It's like, oh, what's an annual inspection on a hotshot? Literally, what is an annual inspection on a hotshot? Have you guys ever done an annual inspection on a hotshot? All they do is you pull in, you pay them $100, and they say left blinker, right blinker, high beams, windshield washer. That's it, done. That's an annual inspection on a hotshot. So it's like when you're a hotshot and you see that's all they do, the next time your annual inspection expires, you go like, bah, who needs it anyways, right? But that's not good, because the DOT, yes, is essentially just a formality on a hotshots. On semis, it's not just a formality. An annual inspection is crucial. Some companies actually require that inspection every 6 months, not just even though the DOT only requires an annual inspection. So on a semi, that's crucial. On a hotshot, it's just like a formality, and sometimes hotshots, as in general, they avoid some of the formalities that are legally required. Therefore, most hotshots have bad safety scores and are often to get inspected more. And not to mention, on top of the fact that we don't have air brakes and slack adjusters that you have to lay under there and check and stuff like that. So in reality, we are easier to inspect. And so that's why maybe the DOT does pick on us. I don't know exactly the numbers. Like hotshots are like 1% of the industry and they get disproportionately inspected 5% of the time. I'm not sure what those numbers are. If you're a DOT officer, let me know in the comments. But if you're a DOT officer, but still, there might be some correlation there. That just means make sure all your ducks in a row. Really do a good job with running your business, with managing your paperwork, with making sure all your stuff is in a row. So after all that, you might be wondering, Alex, okay, so hold on. You've outlined all the pros and cons, essentially, that technically hotshot is a little bit still worth it as long as you come in with the right frame of mind and your expectations are a little more reasonable and you have a little bit more money in your nest egg. Then hotshot might be worth it because you gain a ton of experience that you can use in the trucking industry as a whole. However, obviously you've explained that semi-truck is more beneficial. Why are you still a hotshot, right? You might be asking that question after watching this first part of the video. Let me explain, guys. It's really simple. 3 reasons. First of all, believe it or not, I think semi is really, really boring and really not that cool. And the first one, it's just, I don't want to. I don't know why. Yeah, maybe semi's more comfortable. Maybe the loads are easier. Whatever. I don't care. I think, especially my mega cab long bed. Stop hitting the camera, Alex. Especially the mega long. It's so cool. I like the mega long so much. And I just think hotshotting is cool. And I would rather put up with the challenges of finding freight instead of go to a semi, unfortunately. So I'd rather do that. But then number 2, I have it written down. Guys, the important thing is to not look at one little thing in the business, okay? And driving a truck regardless of what kind of truck it is, driving a truck is only a portion of the business. Okay, there's other portions of the business that you need to focus on, and that switching out that part will affect. Okay, so for example, right, I record on an iPhone. It's like if I have to switch a camera, how does that affect my YouTube channel? Well, I can no longer airdrop from the iPhone to the computer, so therefore I can't edit quicker. Okay, well, how about a truck? How does that affect you in the trucking business? Well, right now, my truck is set up so that I don't keep track of IFTA. I don't even have the drug consortium or clearinghouse because I'm not required to sign up for it. So switching out a truck means I'd have to start switching all of those things and get prepared for that. It's not just like getting rid of the Megalong or turning in the Enterprises and buying a semi. Not to mention, I don't even have a CDL, so I'd have to study. I'd have to go take it, to go take the test, take time off, lose revenue during that week or whatever. And on top of that, it's like, then I don't even know how it affects my insurance. And so it's like, it opens up this whole can of worms where it affects multiple parts of the business. And so it's like, right now, I'm focused on growing the hotshot side of things instead of taking out my personal, like, doing something that's more beneficial for me personally. Okay, I'm trying to put things in priority, basically. You know, I'd rather do what's good for the business than what's good for me, type of thing. You know, now maybe down the road, I get a CDL. Probably not, honestly, probably not. But that does lead me to the third thing, right? Which simply is, guys, it doesn't matter what you drive. Like, man, how can I explain this so that it doesn't matter whether it's a non-CDL hotshot, a CDL hotshot, a box truck, a dry van, a reefer, an expediter. Like, the equipment and what you drive does not matter, because you're still on the road. You're still away from your family. You're still out there. You still have to work hard, hustling. It's like, it's not like just because it's now easier to find loads, all of a sudden you can sit on the couch, play video games, and still get paid. No, that's not how it works. You have to still go drive the loads, right? And so it's like, for me, getting into a semi is not the solution, right? And my question is like, not how can I make an extra $500 a week because I switched to semi, because that's probably what it would relate to. But my question is like, how can I park this truck and never go on the road ever again? That's my question. And so I think the solution to that is, I pay myself $8,000 a month. Okay, that's my salary. Technically it's $4,000 for me, a salary, and $4,000 for my wife. She does accounting, billing, invoicing, all this stuff, right? So it's like, technically that's $8,000 for the family. Now, my solution to solving my $8,000 overhead is one of two, right? Well, first of all, yeah, the ad revenue, the website, sure. But more importantly, if I put 10 hotshots on the road, that's my goal, 10, and 8 of them throughout the month, you know, one guy will be taking a week off, the other guy will, you know, the other 7 or 8 will be working, one guy's in the shop, something like that, right? And it'll be like a revolving, but 8 of them will be bringing in consistent revenue. When 8 trucks are bringing in, my salary is $8,000, so that means I can make about $1,000 on each truck. Okay, that's $250 a week. If my hotshot business cannot bring me $250 a week, we'll have a problem. But my solution, more importantly though, is I think I want to get to 10 trucks, have that business almost run by itself and not expand from there. Because at that point, then I could pay myself that same $8,000 salary without having to be on the road, and then think about what I want to do. Whether it's make the pivot into dry van, whether it's make a reefer, box truck, whether it's do local, whether it's do, maybe I go get my own CDL, or maybe I lease on semi trucks, or maybe I double down on my brokerage. I don't know. There's gonna be many avenues, and I think this year, 2021, the year of the $1 million revenue, right? That's what we're shooting for. So that's what I'm working on. That's why I'm growing this. That's why I'm good at it. Or that's like, I want to stay in it because I'm good at it. I don't want to just keep switching to the next thing, because then you're always that like guy that switches for the next best thing. And so I'm here to stay. I'm going to be non-CDL hotshot if it harms me. Okay, I don't care. I want to be non-CDL until I cannot be it no more. Even if everybody else is getting way richer than me, I don't care. I want to be non-CDL hotshot. Okay, I like non-CDL hotshot, or maybe that's what I got to keep telling myself. I don't know. But still, that's I guess 3 reasons why I'm non-CDL. So now that leads me to this point of the video, okay? Which is, I've been like typing out the bullet points and the notes that I want to talk about in this video, and these past 2 to 3 weeks, I actually try to do, earlier I said jokingly, like thorough, well analyzed, unbiased. I was joking, obviously, but more or less, I have been trying to put together this good video so that it seems somewhat relatively concise and it makes sense. But the problem is, this information is now based on 3 weeks ago. And let me tell you, 3 weeks ago, it was brutal, okay? Some of the dirty, cheapest rates I have seen in a long time. And over the weekend, it's like, boom, hot loads everywhere. Literally everywhere. It's just like on Friday, I was on the Loadboard and I'm like, oh my goodness, how long can this continue? And that next Monday, a couple weeks ago, that Monday, it was everything is on fire, okay? Loads like crazy, everywhere, paying hot, good. So much so that now this, I don't even know what to, like, this video might not make sense because the loads are so hot. And that just goes to show you that how quickly things can change in trucking, right? It's like a couple weeks you're suffering, your, rates are at the bottom of the river, rock bottom, whatever. And 2 weeks later, they're all finally good. Now, I don't know if that's because, our president, Joe Biden, or maybe it's because the winter storms are finally gone and the country opened back up, or maybe we have a legitimate supply and demand issue. And so right now, you might see a lot of like truckers, they might be saying, hey, rates are really good, rates are really good. Keep in mind that when rates are good for truckers, they're also good for hotshots. Let me explain. I did pallet racking for Lowe's, okay? And this crazy load, it doesn't make any sense, okay? It was paying $2,700. I'll pull it up and put it on your screen. It was paying $2,700 to go from Pennsylvania to New York, and it just, I am blown away. It's like, obviously it's still like New York City, Long Island, whatever, but still, so it's like, but freaking $4 a mile, I think it was. So like some of these rates, and right now I'm in Kansas, right? Like obviously, so, and I booked my driver and I 2 loads from the same broker, Fort Riley, Kansas, going to Fort Lewis, Washington, $4,200. It's like $230 on the loaded miles. The rates are truly really good right now, really good right now. That's gonna do it for this video. I feel like I've talked enough and probably bored half of you to sleep. So let me know in the comments down below what you think, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.